number 3 on our list of top 10 mental health tips. It's about harnessing the feeling of resentment to serve us. It's really the most wonderfully useful feeling, because it's that big red flag to say you've missed an opportunity, you need to stop and you need to go back and take a closer look. Because unchecked resentment is a very slippery slope into bitterness. And we all know how insidious bitterness is. I mean, it can end marriages, it affects our health. So resentment's a flag we really don't want to miss. And so the precipitating feeling before resentment, it's often powerlessness. There's been a moment, a conversation, a negotiation, a relationship where you have felt powerless. And so there's two things that happen when we feel powerless. We can either accept responsibility for the feeling and get curious and kind of really get to the bottom of what's happening and why. Or we can blame the other person. We can blame the other person because they have made me feel this way. They have used guilt, they've manipulated me, they've tricked me, they've persuaded me. And as soon as we blame other people for that feeling, we're kind of signing off on our powerlessness. We're saying there was a moment where I didn't feel powerful and I'm going to hand that all over to someone else, which means, I'm not powerful. And so you can sit and stew. I mean, you can stew in your bitterness for your entire life. It's a very dangerous place to be. And so resentment is that lovely flag before we get to bitterness, because you don't want to get there. You want to turn the ship around when you kind of get the taste of resentment. You want to turn it around then, because there's still a much easier opportunity to kind of get back into your power. And so the antidote to resentment is to act, and not to sit and stew and do nothing. And to act is hard. And so we'll kind of break it down into an acronym. A in ACT is you need to get accurate. You need to really understand what's happening here. Have you said yes to something you don't want to do? Do you not have the skills to negotiate? Can you not say no? Maybe you can't say no. What's actually happening? What's at the bottom of feeling powerless? And then you have to ask that really big question of what else can I do? What can I do differently? Because, to act, it might mean even that you have to, it's not going to change. The situation's not going to change, but I'm not ready to get out of it yet. So now I need to build up resilience and tolerate this thing that I don't like. And that in itself is also an act. So we do have to act. And the C in ACT is commitment, because you've got to commit to the act, because you're not going to want to. You're going to try and talk yourself out of this one. Trust me, it's hard. And then the T in ACT is truth. Like, we have to speak our truth. And that's what this is about. We have to get back to who we are and knowing ourselves, knowing our limitations, knowing our strengths, and using those parameters to kind of set some personal boundaries. So we really can. We can get back to using that resentment as information so we can speak our truth.